is an agent, and not even us anymore, is that we're not going to be the orchestrator, or we're going to tell one orchestrator agent, go use whatever agents needed to get this task done, build a whole platform, build a whole business, and sell the business.
Hello, welcome to this episode of Confessions of a B2B Entrepreneur. My name is Tom Harney, your host. And today we have Tim Cakir, who's the founder of AI Operator. They essentially train, consult, and build automations for small businesses related to AI. And so in this episode, it's really a masterclass by Tim on what AI could potentially do and the benefits it could have for your business. So we'll jump into that in a second. First, quick shout out to Fame for producing the show. If you'd like a show like this one, head to fame.so, request a proposal. Let's jump into the episode with Tim now. Tim, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, Tom. Very excited to be here.
Two emotions I'm feeling. First is excited because the subject that we are going to cover today is very topical. And second is a little bit of envy or jealousy because of the business that you're building, which I think is just perfectly timed and very needed. And I can imagine is growing pretty fast. So let's jump in with the first question. And before we get into the AI stuff, I want to understand more of your background as an entrepreneur so we can the AI play that you're kind of running into context.
Yeah, absolutely. But first of all, don't be jealous. I'm jealous of your fame as a company and your LinkedIn profile. And you've built some incredible businesses. And I'd say finally it's the first time in my career I'm at the right place at the right time. So I'm gonna ride it as long as I can, and I think finally in my career, just talking about right now today is I really found something that I absolutely love, adore, and that I'm doing out of passion and out of love, out of every morning waking up and really giving more than my 100% because I absolutely love the topic. I love how much value we can add to founders' lives and their team members' lives. So finally I found what I wanted to do. I'm not 40 yet, so that's good. It's almost there, and I think it's a great time. I always said, "Oh, am I old enough?" and stuff. Some of my business partners and colleagues and like people that coach me and mentor me, they're like, "Dude, you're still very young," and I didn't realize that until now. And now I got this energy, and I'm like, "Yeah, I got many more years to go," and AI is going to keep growing. So that's kind of today. But the background is I started many years ago in Los Angeles selling carpets door to door when Skype was new. Facebook was still invite only, and just before that I think we had the Gmail invitations or whatever, and I was knocking on doors and selling these Turkish magic flying carpets, right? Would I do that again today? Hopefully no, but it was a great way to start a career, great way to learn stuff. So that's how I started, and then I realized that there was something called marketing, and that you didn't have to force people into buying your carpet. You could show your carpet and find the right people around the world that could be interested in your carpet. So then I switched to marketing for multiple years. I was in media publishing, so like old school magazines. And there I became head of digital very quickly because I was so into technology. I'm actually a sound engineer. I'm a music producer. I studied sound engineering, so I love engineering technical. I love technology in general, synthesizers and stuff like that, and then when I found that love also in software, I really got into B2B SaaS, and then I was in B2B SaaS for many years in London, then in Barcelona, and I found myself riding the growth hacker wave. I'm sure you remember that wave when growth hacking was cool, and I was like, oh, I'm a growth hacker because I can scrape sites and create databases and almost kind of steal people's data online, right? Things like that, which today is not sustainable and it's not ethical, I guess. But we did that as well. And then I realized that wasn't very ethical. So I became a growth consultant, helping B2B SaaS CEOs. I was helping them in, mixing sales and marketing to create these growth teams and experimentation. And there is, I start founding my love for operations. I was like, ooh, operations, because I think real growth is not just sales marketing, but it's systems, it's processes, it's data, it's having, being able to answer the right question the fastest possible, and so on, and having the right people at the right place with the right tools. And when I discovered that, I was like, oh my God, yeah, there's so much more into growth, and growth is not just marketing, blah blah blah, right? And that went all in my head, and I was in deep tech companies, and I was in computer vision for real estate. It wasn't sexy. AI wasn't cool back then. And then I took a role, and then COVID hit, right? And then COVID hit, and then I was in a cannabis company. I used to be quite passionate about cannabis. I kind of quit that I think COVID time. But I started this company. It was incredible. We were selling dry herb vaporizers across the world, and we were the biggest e-com in the world. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. And it was a small company. It was bootstrapped. I was like, wow, okay, there's another world, not just B2B SaaS VC backed world. There is this bootstrap, really solving problem that we had. I don't know how many thousands of Trustpilot reviews, and people gave 5 stars. People protect the brand across the whole forums and online. I was like, wow, customer support, customer service, being obsessed about serving the client. I remember the CEO back then. I was the CGO. The CEO said, it would always ask, what would the user do? Like, what would be best for the user? And that's how we took decisions and actions, and that changed my mindset again. And then I joined a sales outsourcing company of 110 people. So I became the CEO. That was my first big CEO role. And then ChatGPT came alive. And then when ChatGPT came alive, my business partners, where I was the CEO, they turned to me. They're like, what do you want to do? And they could see that after work every night, I was on ChatGPT, and I was like, AI, wow, this is incredible. I wasn't sleeping. I just had a child, but I was like, I also have a new child, which is ChatGPT. I was like, wow, this is incredible. I can see where it's going. It was, let's be honest, it could write a poem that didn't sound good, or a joke that had no humor in it, but I was like, ooh, this is interesting. Where is this going to go? So I kind of gave myself fully into that, trained our team back then. I trained everybody on ChatGPT using it, and we did get a lot of efficiency. And then I decided, I was like, I think I want to train more people. I think I want to help humanity. I want to help humans, professionals especially, removing the repetitive, the boring, the mundane, because I never liked the repetitive, the boring, the mundane. I have ADHD. It's a superpower now. It wasn't, many years ago. And I turned it into a superpower. And now with AI and ChatGPT and stuff, it's a massive superpower. So I realized I love work every day because I have AI. I have a partner, right? I think AI is an assistant, is a partner. You work together. And when I saw that, I started AI Operator, and we launched AI Operator about a year ago. It's been fast growth, as you said. We're a very small team still, but we're really solving a great problem, and we're really adding so much value. That it gets me out of bed every morning, and I'm like, let's solve more problems for many more people in the world. So that's why I'm here today, Tom.
What an intro. And it is
it's long.
It is fascinating how you your journey from sales, marketing, growth hacking, and then you discovered what I think I discovered recently as well, is that the real secret is to growing a business is customer retention, which often is driven by systems. And then you have the customer success experience. So it all makes sense. I want to jump right in though, because you guys obviously do consulting, build automations and training for businesses on AI. So from all of the businesses that you've looked into, what are the 3 top things that are the most easy wins, let's say, for businesses to start automating with AI?
Yeah, I think the boring, the repetitive, the things that people don't actually want to do. Because we do get those clients change their mind a lot now, but we'd had people, they're like, I want AI to do this and that. I'm like, hold on, you're still reporting. You're still spending 15 hours a month to create a slide deck to report to your executives and stuff like that. Are you serious? You don't want AI to do all this crazy stuff you're telling me. You want AI to remove repetitive work first, right? So we found really reporting. I think reporting is a huge one. Data access, right? So the biggest complaint is everybody has, HubSpots and, multiple platforms. I even have a company that has HubSpot and Salesforce. It's like, why both? And, they have 5 to 10 platforms maybe sometimes where they have to go and create filters, export the data, or they have something scheduled that goes on a sheet or goes on an email. They have to put it together. They have to make sense of it and so on. It's like, first of all, you can build very simple automation, even, don't even need AI at first, right? You can build easy automation to put these in a database and then put it together so that you can query this database, and then you can use AI to really query not just quantitative data, but also qualitative data, right? So I think that's an easy step as well. I mean, easy, when I say it's easy for us because we see it and we keep doing it, right? And then I think the other one is really given not just the data, not just the qualitative or quantitative, but giving everything to your team members at their fingertips where they are. Is it Slack? Is it little Slack bot that you ask a bunch of questions that can answer? Even, seriously, like we have a great client. We love them. They're still with us. It's been just since the day one. And, people spend time on saying, how do I install the printer in the office, right? They go to the office, or they have cars and they're like, oh, how do I have the insurance of the car because, there was an accident? How do I get my travel costs paid? Like, these kind of questions are so silly and simple questions. And we're like, well, yeah, that's not game changing, right? As ChatGPT said, game changing. It doesn't have to change the game. It has to make the game easy first, right? It has to make sure that you can focus on the game and not on the boring admin reporting and trying to find information across all the tools, right? So if you can start automating that, you're going to have a happier team. And that's what we saw. The teams are much happier, and then the efficiency boosts like crazy. And you see them, they're like, oh, I love to talk to clients. I love to do my job, right? Because the rest, they have these mini tools, mini agents, if you want to call them, mini applications. I don't want to call them agents because I think we just saw agentic things very recently. Before that, I don't think it was agents. But we have mini bots, mini tools doing that boring work, right? So ask your teams what they don't like to do, and find that out, map it out, map that process, and let's see what we can do with those first.
I assume that you do get objections from people within businesses that you're going into to automate stuff or to train about them thinking they might be like made redundant because of AI. What do you say to that question?
Yeah, I think that we do get that if we don't come on the training. If we come just on automation, like we had one client who just came on automation building, then yes, you'd have teams that they don't want to really talk to you. They don't want to support you because they're like, oh no, I don't want you to automate that because then my job. But the second we go on training and we do the corporate AI training program that we do, which is a 12-week AI first mindset training program, and it's a mindset training program. I repeat that, right? We change the mindset of everybody, and everybody's like, oh shit, I love AI, right? And the second they realize that they love AI, and I tell them like, your job, maybe today, exactly here, I can't guarantee it's safe, but when you learn the AI, you are safe to have a job wherever and whenever, right? Because people want people that can use AI, right? It's that simple. And it's not, I was looking at the benchmarks, and it's like, the AI is better than the human at, I don't know, math now, right? There was a math competition, and then the human is better at X. And it's like, that's great benchmarks and so on. But how about the human plus the AI? There's no benchmark in that, because you are unstoppable when you have multiple AI tools. You know how to orchestrate now agents, right? When you have that, you're unstoppable, right? And if your team is coming, if your team members, your leadership members are coming to us and they're spending quite a bit of money on training you, I think you should feel safe, right? Because they are not just replacing you. They're coming and they're like, please train on my team. I want them to think AI first, right? And they're really spending resources, is money, and also time, right? We take quite a bit of time on training these team members. So if your leadership team is doing that, like that, love that leadership. That means that they really care about you. They care about your upskilling. And that's a company you want to give you 110%, right? And if you do that with the AI, with the learnings you have from us, in the practice that you do on your own, in the job that you already do, you are absolutely unstoppable. A team of 75 acts like a team of 750 in output, and that's incredible.
Can you share like an example automation that you guys have done for a client? Obviously, you don't have to give details, like exact details, that like saved a shitload of time that you guys are really proud of.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the simplest one that I love to show and talk about is, imagine you have 35 sales team members in your company. They're field sales. They go in the streets. They go store to store, right, retail to retail. They visit all these stores, and then on Friday they have to come a whole day to the office because they have to create the reports, input the information on Salesforce, and so on. Imagine suddenly you have just a custom GPT, right, in your AirPods or in your CarPlay when you go from shop to shop, right? And you can say, hey, I'm going to report about my visit. And it says, okay, which store was it? It was here in this Munich in the street. Oh, that shop. Okay, can you report? Can you answer these questions? Boom, you answer the questions while you're talking and walking or driving. And then you have done in 10 minutes your reporting. It's done. And before the next store, you can also talk to a custom GPT to ask about the previous visits, the numbers, right? It creates SQL query, it goes to Salesforce, it gets the numbers, and it tells you all these things vocally, right? And okay, it's not perfect yet, but it's 90% there, and it saves them 15 hours each a month. Saving 15 hours each a month per team member of 35 salespeople, I think that's game changing, and this is great because we had one of the team members like, I've been doing this for 20 years. AI can't help me, right? I've been doing this for 20 years. AI cannot help me. That was on our survey. And then after our training, the people are like, oh my God, I go visit them quite often. They're like, oh my God, Tim, we love you. We love AI. I'm like, don't worry, it's okay. Just use it, practice it. And then when you see these time savings and people realizing that, yes, AI can help everybody, and should help everybody, because electricity is bigger than electricity. You don't want to stay under the candlelight. You want you want a bulb in your house. It's the same idea. You want an AI next to you. Seeing this, just a simple example of a custom GPT, right? This is not game changing, right? I mean, ChatGPT would say it's game changing, but I'd say this is just common sense for us now. I don't want you to log into a platform to create the filters, to query that stuff, and then get that into a spreadsheet, then make an analysis, and then put in a slide deck, blah blah blah, to send it to your client. I don't want you to do that. I want that to be automated so you can spend time with humans, human to human. Spending time is, I think, more important now.
Totally agree. I feel like we might be about to jump down a rabbit hole, but how do you personally use AI?
Oh, yeah. How don't I not use AI? I think is more the question. Well, it's incredible. I use it for everything. Like, the silliest example that I did give online before. It's, my pool guy left us. I have a pool. I live in the south of Turkey. It's very hot, and you pay these people throughout the whole winter, and then just before summer comes, they leave you. And it's like, I'm not a pool expert, and we just had a salt machine, salt filtration, salt creation, whatever that is, system and so on. I was like, oh my God, what are we going to do with this? I just took pictures of everything, of every valve, every engine, every motor, every filter. I took pictures, I put on ChatGPT, explain this, explain this, explain this, explain this, explain it in the same chat thread. And then I said, well, give me a maintenance guide, give me a schedule. And then it gave me. And then I found somebody else for cheaper that wasn't a pool expert. I said, do you want a job? And they're like, yeah, but I don't know anything about pools. I was like, well, that's fine. I know quite a bit about asking AI about pools, and I gave him quite a few documents translated to Turkish. And I stick those into the pool room, and then you have everything there, step by step. Right? That's like the craziest example, I believe, which is non-business related. And then business related, I was just doing that before our call. I was waiting for my daughter, picking her up from school. I launched a deep research, actually a research on Claude Opus 4, because I really like the research in Anthropic in Claude. And I launched this research of, it's an exhaustive analysis of B2B founder AI implementation challenges of this year, January to July 2025. I got about 100 quotes from Reddit's Y Combinator forums, PwC case studies, and like I have so much. It's just in front of me now, and I'm like, oh my God, there's so much here, and this is going to dictate my next 6 months of content. It's going to dictate, our messaging, and it took me I actually used one chat thread to create the prompt for the research. That took me a couple minutes, answering some questions and so on. Then I took that prompt, then I put it on research, which asked me a couple more clarification questions. a few more minutes. And then about 15 minutes later, I have this incredible analysis that, I couldn't do before, or it would take me weeks, or I would get somebody on Upwork, on Fiverr and try to do this. But now I can get this in under 30 minutes. And now I can turn every quote, every pain point, every challenge, I can turn it into a campaign, into a carousel, into a post, into topics for my podcasts, right? To anything, basically, right? So I think this is a great example of non-business, business, and I do everything in between, by the way, of course.
Yeah, the pool example is super interesting, because if the knowledge of the pool cleaner can just be like pulled out of the internet using AI and then documented, then surely like we actually can just get much lower cost people to do stuff that previously we had to spend a lot more money on. That's super interesting. And then my other point was going to be around, deep research. So it was only like 6 months ago, I feel like the research got good enough so that now it literally feels like you have a McKinsey like assistant, like if you want to do market research, it's just absolutely incredible. You can have multiple tabs open and you can come and review them. It is absolutely insane. You mentioned the agent thing. I'd love to dig into that and how you're saying that actually, because the agent hype's been around for, I don't know, a year. But you're saying that only now, like, can you explain why you don't think they were agents? And then also, I think you mentioned that now you believe more in agents.
Yeah, I think that the last year, what we've seen is that everybody jumped on the hype train of, watch my agent do this and my agent do that. And if I told your agent to do something else, it could be like, well, I can't do that, right? Or he couldn't even say I can't do that, just fail, right? Because it's a workflow, right? Even the NA10s were workflows, right? They were, you could loop them, right? And I think that it was a great explanation. It said an agent is a large language model that can access tools, but can also loop the tools as long as it's needed to be able to achieve the job. And I was like, wow, okay, that's really cool. But then, as long as it's needed. And then you're like, okay, at A10, you create a flow, you have some loops, but it won't take the decision to continue across those loops and maybe call in different tools, right? You have to identify those tools. You have to say, this is the tool that I want you to access. So you have to build this, and then you have to build maybe, I don't know, as many tools. Can it find a new tool and can it learn the new tool and the documentation? No, it can't, right? So NA10 was the closest to agents, and that's why I think the hype train of LinkedIn, download my template and comment agents, blah, blah, blah. It was great, but and you look at these things, most people couldn't use them for their own business. It didn't make sense whatsoever for them, right? It was just really hype train content creators, that got into it, and young kids. Congrats, because they got a pretty big following now. Young kids trying to build these things, and I didn't feel the agentic at all, because it was a step-by-step workflow that had some kind of looping, maybe has access to some tools, right? But on Friday night, was it Friday the 19th or something like that, or the 18th, Friday night 18th, I think, the 18th of July. It was incredible because we got ChatGPT agent, right? And we had Operator before, we had Deep Research before. Operator from OpenAI, I was one of the early adopters, obviously. It would fail quite a bit. It would try things, it was good. It would visually go click buttons and go on websites and do something, which was quite good. But it couldn't really analyze information and scrape information and pull information and do something about the information. Then we got Deep Research, a couple of weeks after, I think. And then Deep Research was like, whoa, okay, you can get some information. And you can get it from many sources in like minutes, hours. And the information started to make sense. Yes, we had some hallucinations. It got much better. And then we had O3, and O3 had tools, right? It can crop an image and analyze an image and zoom in an image. I was like, wow, this is incredible, right? And then it could do so much more, and it could do Plotly, and by getting Plotly, it could do dashboards and give you HTML code that you could download, and suddenly you had a website with all your dashboards and stuff like that. So you didn't need somebody on Tableau or Microsoft BI, Power BI or things like that. I was like, ooh, okay, that's very interesting. And then what they did is they married all that together, right? And now we have O3 with this reasoning and tool calling, and they're saying that it's not O3, so it's potentially the next model that we're going to see, hopefully, right? It's kind of an O3 that has the visual powers of an operator that can use the keyboard, use the mouse, run a virtual computer, can click on things, but now it can run also a terminal in his own virtual computer. Wow, right? So you can download things in his own virtual computer, do things, create PDFs and create stuff. It's like, wow. And then it can review all that stuff and so on. And then we have the deep research, which kind of got translated into a text browser, right? So it has two browsers now, ChatGPT Agent. It has a visual browser and a text browser. And the text browser is really going through a lot of information in seconds because it's just text-based. It can read all this stuff, which I think is the future of a lot of the internet, because it's not us, it's the agents that are going to access the internet. So they're going to need just text files, markdown files of your websites. That's a recommendation, by the way, for everybody to start thinking about that, right? And then you have this O3 tool calling, and you put them all together, and you have this first agent where you say something and it opens up a virtual computer. It goes, it browses, it downloads things, it puts into a thing, it puts it into another system, and it creates you a PDF, it creates you slides, spreadsheets, and analyzes them. And you're like, wow, you're like, it's still not perfect, but do I'm going to wait for perfection? No, because I can get over 90% there, and then I can tackle the 10%. And a lot of people say, yeah, but that 10% takes time to identify. A human, your intern, your Upwork Fiverr, your assistant, some of your team members, most of your team members still do errors, sorry. And a lot of humans still do a lot of errors, right? We're very mean to AI, I believe. So I want to protect the AI here. We're like, we want it to be 100% incredible. And it's like, are humans 100% incredible at every day? Do they show up every day with their best attitude? And, no, we don't, right? But AI is going to get there, and it's getting there very, very fast. So that's why I had this agentic moment. And I think that, yes, now we're getting into an agentic era. Also, Perplexity's browser, Comet, also showed me a bit of an agentic era, right? So I think that we have two good tools that can show you now what agents might be. And of course, OpenAI is going to bring a browser, and that browser is going to be like, wow, because it's going to learn from what you do, and they're going to automate more and so on. And I know I'm talking a lot, but I want to give you an example of what I did last night, which was mind-blowing. So I put ChatGPT Agent to a task, and I said, go to Replit. Replit is a vibe coding, right? Is a development platform that has an agent and has a terminal in the virtual environment. And in the terminal, I run Claude Code, right? Because I have the Claude Max plan. So what I did is I said to ChatGPT Agent, I said, go to my Replit, use Replit Agent and use Claude Code inside the terminal, inside Replit, right? And all three together, do whatever is needed to finish that project, right? Was it incredible? No. But it did use it. It did some stuff. It made some errors and kind of gave up. But I was like, if that's doing it today, what is going to happen in 3 months, 6 months, a year, right? It's an agent, not even us anymore. We're not going to be the orchestrator, or we're going to tell one orchestrator agent, go use whatever agents needed to get this task done, build a whole platform, build a whole business, and sell the business, right? And even, and merge and acquire other business or whatever, right? And we're going to be able to tell this, and these agents are going to work together and get that job done, and I think this is, I find this mind-blowing, emoji mind-blowing. I think we're in a very interesting time, and good luck to all of us. I think it's a really great time to be alive.
Yeah, wow. That's interesting. So was that an existing project you have in Replit that was like a web app or a mobile app or something that you're building?
There's many apps that 20, 30 apps that I'm building in there. So I'm building lots of internal tools. Instead of buying certain internal tools now, I just build them. Because when you think about certain tools that we subscribe to, we use about 20% of the features. We don't use the rest of the 80%. And then we complain to customer support saying, hey, we want this feature, this doesn't work. But now you could say, I want this tool to do exactly this. And then whenever you have a new idea for a feature, you just build it yourself, right? And have I launched anything that is very solid? Kinda. I have a couple of internal tools that are working, but I think it's
What's
just
an example, if you're happy to share an example of
yeah,
an
absolutely. So we do have I think we have. I can share a couple actually. So we have a training platform that we finished. We're testing internally. Still some little bugs, but we're testing it now, and we're running our program through Google Docs and Notion pages, and and all that kind of stuff, and Google Meets, and the links, and then we have post-session summaries with AI, and then we have all these things that orchestrate together to be able to deliver a great experience in our training. So I built a platform that can have all the calendar, can have all the resource material, all the preparations, all the summaries, and everything. And at least then I could say, oh, publish this to 10 clients, or publish it to these 3 clients, or publish it to this group inside this client, right? While we're training. So I'm kind of preparing this tool for other trainers that I'm going to onboard at some point, because I can't be the trainer all the time. I know I can let AI, but I think the great thing is that as a human, we're training the humans, right, on the AI. So I want to keep that human aspect of it. So I think that this tool has been a big project. It's much bigger than what it sounds. And I could have done it on Circle, maybe. I could have done it on School, maybe, but I looked at them. It's missing a lot of things. It wasn't very customizable to exactly what I want, So I'm building it. I'm kind of finished anyways. And then I have 2 tools that are coming public in the next couple of weeks. And these are free lead magnet lead generation tools. One is an AI ROI calculator. So you can put your teams, you can put how much you pay them, and then you can put where you can get some efficiency, or your reporting, and so on. And then, you can put some numbers, or we can tell you as well, at 20% efficiency in reporting or whatever. And then it's going to give you a return on investment on AI and adopting AI, and why you should use us and get our training programs. Then I have a lot of fun tools, of course. Like here I'm a DJ and so on. So I'm launching this little community of, what's on now, right? Because a lot of people come out and they're like, okay, where can I go now? And maybe they finish at 1 a.m. and they're like, is there an after party? Is there something? But what's on now? Right, so it's not about next week, or it's like what's on now, and they can just open up. Oh, there's parties here, and there's things here. You can go here, and they can just click, and then be like, oh, okay, guide me to that, and they can go to that, right? So that's a fun project on the side on the weekends that I play around with, and I think that again, going back to internal tools, I'm not going to vibe code a whole platform that I'm going to give to thousands of clients on a subscription. I don't think that's what I'm going to do anyways. But facilitating the job that we do, I think it's where I'm focusing with vibe coding. If and I have a few more tools like that, like project management, but with our methodology, audit and road mapping. Oh yeah, the latest one I started, I think that's going to be a big one again. Is we're doing this audit and road mapping like McKinsey, but we don't charge $1 million a year. We charge quarter of that, hopefully, right? And we're doing that right now, very service-based. We are going to keep it service-based, human-based, but we don't want to send you documents. We don't want to, tell you, hey, here's a slide deck, right? We want to give you a platform that you see the whole transformation, you see the survey and the insights of all your team members and how they're transforming and how your processes are being documented and how we're injecting AI in your process. So I'm building this platform that is gonna complement our service, and it's gonna be fully custom to the methodology that we're doing.
Makes total sense, Tim. Well, I can tell you're incredibly passionate about this. I feel like that was a bit of a masterclass of AI for small business. We will link to AI Operator below. We'll also link to your LinkedIn profile. Anything else we should link to or mention?
Well, yeah, it's just AI Operator on LinkedIn. My YouTube channel with Tim Cakir. I think that I'm quite active on YouTube. I share everything I know, I learn, I try, I fail. I share it all for free. So you can take everything for free anyways. And if you need some support, we're there as AI Operators to help your business.
Yeah, I feel like YouTube videos with AI demos is a really good way of getting a lot of attention, great content. It gets good reach and also aligned with your business. So that makes total sense. Tim?
I'd like to add something there. Sorry, Tom. It's like, I had people complain about, OpenAI's demonstration of ChatGPT agent. They're like, how could you buy flowers, and how can you book dinner, and how can you find a gift for your best friend or for your wife? And it's like, that's not what we want to automate. That's not what we want to give to an agent. We actually want to give business things. We want to give those repetitive spreadsheet filling and stuff like that, right? So that's what I focus on my YouTube. It's like, how do I use it for business? How each day helps me, not with my relationship with my wife, which is really cute, but it's more like, how does it help me run my business, and how it can help you run your business?
There we go. Tim, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you very much, Tom.
And what do we think about that team? Are you utilizing AI enough? That is a question I'm asking myself from that episode. Also, apologies if the audio quality is slightly lower than it typically is. Currently in my partner's house in the south of Italy, where I don't have my office, and also the internet isn't amazing, so apologies for that. And then, of course, thanks to Fame for producing the show. Thanks to Tim for coming on, and thanks to you for listening.